Hey everybody, it's Craig with Smartphone Emmy, and today we're going to have a face-off between Google's Nexus One running Android 2.2 and AT&T's latest, the Samsung Captivate. We're going to start out and talk through the specifications on both of these phones, and as always, the displays are turned up as bright as they will go, and both of the devices are running off the same Wi-Fi network. Alright, Google's Nexus One, this is a quad-band GSM phone, tri-band 3G. Phone weighs in at 130 grams. Build quality, primarily metal, high-grade plastic here on the display on the front of the device. Nice soft rubberized texture coating here on the back. On the Captivate, again, quad-band GSM phone, tri-band 3G, weighs in at 119 grams. Build quality, front and sides, primarily high-grade plastic. The battery cover is made of metal. Taking a quick look around the Nexus One, on the bottom is the microphone as well as the micro USB port. Left hand side is the volume rocker. On top, power and lock key as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the Captivate, on the bottom is the microphone. On the left hand side is the volume rocker. On top is the micro USB port, a slick little door to protect it. Next to that's 3.5mm headphone jack. And on the right hand side is the power and lock key. On the back of the Nexus One, you've got a 5 megapixel camera with autofocus, LED flash, and geotagging. As far as video capture, it's 720 by 40 resolution at a minimum of 20 frames per second. On the Captivate, you've got a 5 megapixel camera with autofocus, touch focus, face and smile detection, as well as geotagging. It shoots video at 720p at 30 frames per second. Underneath the battery cover on the N1 is a 1400 milliamp battery rated at 10 hours of talk time on 2G, 7 hours of talk time on 3G. On the Captivate, the battery is a 1500 milliamp battery rated at 13.5 hours 2G talk time and 6.5 hours talk time on 3G. Both of the phones have the micro SD card slots underneath the battery covers. On the N1, you need to remove the battery to exchange or replace a micro SD card. Alright, on the front of the phones, on the N1, you've got a 3.7-inch AMOLED capacitive touch display showing 480 by 800 pixels. Offers multi-touch and accelerometer as well as a proximity sensor. On the Captivate, you've got a 4-inch Super AMOLED capacitive touch display showing 480 by 800 pixels. Again, it offers multi-touch, accelerometer sensor, and proximity sensor. Under the display on the N1, you have 4 touch-sensitive keys, a search key, home key, main menu key, and back key, as well as a trackball for trackball navigation. On the Captivate, underneath the display, you have 4 touch-sensitive keys, a search key, a back key, a home key, and a main menu key as well. The memory on the N1, 512 megabytes of ROM, 512 megabytes of RAM. Internal storage can be expanded an additional 32 gigabytes through the use of micro SD cards. On the Captivate, 16 gigabytes of internal storage with 512 megabytes of RAM, and an additional internal memory memory can be expanded an additional 32 gigabytes through micro SD cards. Both of the phones will tether the N1 up to 8 devices simultaneously. Both of the phones offer Wi-Fi B, G, and N. The Captivate also offers support for DNLA. Both of the phones offer Bluetooth. The N1 version 2.1 with support for A2DP. The Captivate version 3.0 with support for A2DP. Both of the phones offer GPS, or both of the phones have GPS with support for AGPS. The N1 runs on Qualcomm Snapdragon 1 GHz processor. The Captivate on the ARM Cortex A8 1 GHz processor. The operating system on the N1 is Android 2.2 Froyo, and on the Captivate it's Android 2.1 Eclair. Alright, let's continue our face-off between these two devices and take a little closer look at the user interface. On the N1, you've got the stock Android user interface, 5 different panels you can customize with Android widgets, bookmarks, contact information, application shortcuts, or folders. On the Captivate, you have the Samsung TouchWiz 3.i UI overlay on top of the Android OS, which means that you've got 7 different panels that you can customize with both Samsung and Android widgets, contact information, bookmarks, folders, and application shortcuts. This is the stock clock widget, Samsung widget. This is their stock market widget. This is their Twitter Friends social networking widget. This is their People widget. This is Daily Briefing. So let's look at some of the widgets on the TouchWiz user interface. And then something that's new on the N1 as far as widgets, under Google Search, you can now set up a widget to search all the web, apps only, or contacts only. Something a little bit new. Both of the phones have notification bars at the top. Simply sliding down will open those up. One of the differences on the Captivate, you get a couple connectivity manager shortcuts, one for Wi-Fi, one for Bluetooth. Also a couple of profile manager shortcuts, one to put the phone on silent, and one to put the phone on vibrate. Both of the phones multitask. Holding down the home key will open up the task managers on both of the phones. On the N1, you can see you now get 8 of the most recent applications opened in the task manager, as opposed to just 6 that you get on the Galaxy S. Both of the phones have dedicated search. Simply holding down the search keys momentarily will open up the voice-activated search on both of the phones. As far as text input on the Captivate, you get the typical Android keyboard, which allows you speech to text. You also get the swipe keyboard as well. And we really don't need that. So there's your swipe keyboard. And you also get the Samsung keyboard. The only one that allows speech to text is the Android keyboard, but you don't give that up with the Captivate, which you did on the Galaxy S. Alright, then the other thing that's different about these two phones is the N1 supports full flash, Adobe 10.1, and we'll take a look at something real quick on that. Zoom in a little bit for you.
I feel like we're on a quest to start a new life. Go ahead. Ask him, what's your name in Chinese?
Yeah, I'm from Detroit.
Welcome to Beijing.
Alright, it gives you a little closer look at the user interface on these two devices.